Aloha, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for practicing with me on my birthday. It's truly the thing I love most in the world, and so there's nowhere else I'd rather be. In the ashram, there's a tradition on your birthday. Rudy says that there is enough energy available on your birthday that if you're paying attention and you're practicing and you're absorbing, you can absorb everything you need for the next year of growth. And so that's what I've been working to do today. And that's the theme for today's class. It's okay if it's not your birthday. I don't think it's everyone's birthday today, but we can still celebrate every day by being really receptive and finding that quality of absorption and inner spaciousness. And so that's how we'll enjoy our class. If you haven't already, I invite you to spread out a yoga mat so you've got a nice cozy space to roll around, and then turn to your right and gently make your way onto your back. And take your time. Of course, there's no rushing in yoga. And start to feel yourself arriving closer to the earth. If it feels comfortable, and close the eyes and give yourself permission to make any little adjustments that help this moment to feel more supportive. So I see some people bending their knees. That's a lovely option. And the way that I have been working with absorbing energy is by feeling spacious. It's almost like the more room I create internally, or not even create because we're already spacious, so the more room I reveal, the more I can absorb effortlessly. And so as you relax here, first notice the edges of your physical body. I guess your skin is another way of saying that. And then feel those edges interacting with the air around you. You might notice the temperature of the air or the movement of the air. And allow that interplay between your physical form and the air around you to dance a little bit. And let the edges of the body soften. And imagine them vibrating and even starting to dissolve. When Babaji talks about our energetic body and says it's more vast than the entire universe. And so feel that potential to be endlessly spacious. And the vastness isn't just outward, it's infinitely inward as well. And let that inward dimension take you towards the center of the heart, deeper and deeper towards the cells, and then the atoms, and then the spaces between the atoms and the space between that. And as you play with getting very big and very small at the same time, start to feel the breath pulsation. And I've really been enjoying feeling the inward direction as I inhale, and the outward direction as I exhale. And that helps me feel both at once. The edges reaching out infinitely and reaching in infinitely. We'll take several breaths here, just letting yourself relax physically, but also mentally. You can start to slow down the exhale. That should help with the relaxing. Welcome, Mandy. Notice on those slow exhales if you can feel yourself sinking into the heart center while still becoming more spacious. And then gently start to separate the feet, taking up more physical space as the body gets wider. If the knees are bent, you can extend the legs at this point and stretch the arms out wide too, and feel that experience of the physical body reaching. Bring some awareness to the lumbar vertebrae and just make sure you're not increasing the arch in the low back, which actually takes some core strength to prevent from happening. So you might feel that brightness at your center. Make gentle wiggling with your fingers and toes. Let the feet circle. And as this awareness travels towards the edges of the body at the fingers and the toes, simultaneously feel your heart center. So it's kind of like juggling two balls, feeling the center of your being and sinking the awareness deeper and deeper into that center while reaching out, while expanding. Continue to feel the breath flow. And then start to snow angel the arms and be really gentle here. As the hands push down towards the feet, let the palms flip away from you. And then as the arms circle up and overhead, let the palms flip the other direction. So basically the palms are always facing the direction that the arms are traveling. And try to do less. So let the elbows soften, let the arms get heavy so there's not really too much effort in the arms or the shoulders. Imagine you're just massaging the skin and the muscles of the arms by letting them glide across the floor. And the next time the arms reach overhead, pause there and gently start to bend the knees, gliding the heels in towards the sits bones so the soles of the feet come to the earth. Actually first anchor the pelvis and then start to play with windshield wipering the knees without moving the pelvis. And so you'll notice that your movement is pretty limited here. And that's actually going to wake up the core musculature. So as the pelvis stays anchored, the deep core starts to wake up in these little windshield wipers. And the next time the knees come over to the left, roll on to the left-hand side. Bend the elbows and the knees. Let the head relax for a moment. Feel the left side pressing into the earth. And then gently start to squeeze elbows and knees towards one another and feel the front of the body tighten. And then start to reach everything out, melting and opening and I call this the protozoa pulse. So you can just imagine you're a single-celled organism, and everything in you is moving in the same direction towards center and then away from center. These movements can be really tiny if that's more comfortable on that bottom shoulder. And the next time you get long, stack the hands, bring the head to the bottom arm, and straighten the feet, flex the feet as if you're in Tadasana. And this actually takes some core strength to find balance. So take a moment to feel that wobbling and stabilization happening. The top arm can relax as much as you need to for the shoulder to be comfortable. Take a couple of breaths and just notice how the rib cage and the pelvis are relating to one another. And if the core is on, it should be helping find a parallel between those two systems. And then very slowly, imagine you're a banana and slowly start to lift your head, feeling the nice banana curve on your side body. You can play with lifting the top leg just a little bit, or keep the feet together. That's feeling more interesting to me. And feel the warmth starting to build on the right side of the body, and then set that down. And do this a couple of times, and less is more, especially if that felt like intense or like the superficial muscles were engaging a lot. We really want to feel the deep core support, and then just layer on the superficial muscles in a really gentle way. The next time you really relax down, pause there, let everything soften, feel any warmth that builds on the right side of the body, and then bend the top knee and gently start to sweep the right hand down and back, coming into a nice easy twist. Let the top knee reach in front of you as the arm reaches behind you, and the head can relax on the floor behind you so that this is more relaxed. And just take a moment to let the right side of the body spiral open, and then very slowly start to roll onto the back so the right side of the hip anchors down. Really important, just like we did before, keep the pelvis anchored and start to circle the right knee. It's really important to keep the pelvis stable here because we don't want the thigh bone like grinding on the cartilage of the hip socket. And so if the pelvis is anchored and our deep core is supporting us, we'll just have nice small supported movements here. And then the next time the knee starts to circle over to the left, bend both knees, roll onto the side, and we'll repeat that again, starting with the protozoa pulse. And so start to squeeze elbows and knees together in a fetal position, and then gently reach everything out. And do this at your own pace. If you want to sync it with the breath, it's nice to exhale into the fetal position and inhale to expand. And let these two directions of movement help you bury yourself into the heart center and simultaneously expand and reach and lengthen. And the next time you reach out, stack everything, soften everything, find the wobble, and then stabilize. And then gently start to lift the head, feeling the right side of the body shorten into your banana shape. And then let it go, and do this a couple of times, and less is more. Like maybe I can't even really see what a beautiful banana you are, but you can feel that curve. The next time you lift, if it feels comfortable, try holding and breathing and seeing how soft you can be. Bend the elbow a little if the shoulder needs a little break. And then set everything down. Top knee bends and the top arm sweeps back, melting the head behind you. So this is a nice relaxed twist. If you want to kick the top leg out a little bit, that's fine. And then gently roll onto the back, anchor the pelvis, and go right into the knee circles, right? And they're going to be pretty small knee circles. And if you're feeling it mostly at the core, then you're doing it right. Gently extend the right leg out and pause in your reclined snow angel position and just notice anything starting to wake up. Notice that sensation of the lights being turned on in your inner dimension. And then we'll be doing the same sequence to the other side, which means you're not going to be facing me. If that's confusing, feel free to sit up and flip to the other side. And feel free to hit play on the first musical track as well. And whenever you're ready, in whatever orientation you are, gently start by bending the knees, soles of feet to the earth, and anchor the pelvis. Little windshield wipers. And it's fine if you're already in the protozoa pulse, you can enjoy that too. This is your practice. And then eventually roll now onto the right hand side if you're not already there. Take a moment to allow the earth to receive the right side of the body, and then squeeze elbows and knees together, and less is more. You want to feel as fluid as possible, right? And you're only a single cell, so it means no muscles can over-dominate because you're just one thing. So there's a sense of evenness. That single pointed focus. Try moving a little slower. Beautiful. Start to connect with your breath flow. Connect with the sensations of the body gliding over the earth or your blanket if you chose that option. And then the next time you start to lengthen out, prepare to stack the body. Take your time with it. And then flex the feet and notice that little wobble, that it's actually challenging to rest on your side here. Notice the deep core starting to awaken. And then keeping the deep core on, play with gently lifting the head by shortening the left side of the body. Keep the feet flexed and feel the musculature lifting you and then setting you back down. And try that a couple times and make adjustments with that top arm so it feels spacious, right? So it might even be like a more of a soft cactus arm. A soft cactus. I don't know what kind that would be. And the next time you lift, you can pause for a moment, only if that feels interesting. And then set it back down, and we're heading into the twist. So the top knee bends and the knee reaches forward as the top arm sweeps down and back, melting the left shoulder behind you, letting the head relax. Breathe. And a twist is such a special way to feel that condensing into your center while reaching out. Right, you have that center focal point and the spaciousness. And then return onto the side body. Oh, no, don't do that. Roll all the way onto the back and anchor the pelvis, letting the top knee circle gently, just to wake up the deep core and the muscles in the hip socket. Less is more. You want it to feel quite strengthening and not stretching at all. Nice. And then as you're ready, we'll do that one more time on that same side, eventually rolling onto the right hand side. First movement is the protozoa pulse. And as you pulse here, try to find a sense of inward support, finding solace in your own body, in your own energetic field. And then notice your ability to also expand. and become more spacious. Take a couple more, heading towards the side lying core pose where the body stacks. And take a moment here to feel that subtle work that's keeping you supported and keeping you balanced. Flex the feet. And then start to play with shortening the top side of the body so that the head lifts, but you want to feel the lifting coming from your center and not from the neck, not from the shoulder. So less really is more, and less is actually stronger. Go figure. Feel that play of the top side shortening and then lengthening evenly. You can still be a single cell here if you want. And the next time you relax down, bend the top knee, circle the top arm down and back, melting the top shoulder onto the mat, into the twist. Feel the condensing towards the center, helping your focus go as deep as possible into the heart as the arm and legs stretch apart. Two things at once. Awareness in both places at once. And then roll onto the back, anchor the pelvis, and gently circle the knee in the momentum that movement carries you. And then stretch that leg out and pause again in your snow angel. Close the eyes and let your whole body soften. Imagine all your awareness pooling down the center of the heart, deeper and deeper into the infinitesimal spaces. And take a few breaths and imagine being able to absorb all of the energy that's available to you in this moment. Keeping the pelvis anchored, start to drag the heels in and then lift the shins. Grab behind the thighs and start to gently rock and roll forward and back, finding a little bit of hang time at the top if that's comfortable, and if it's not, you can always come right up to seated. And the next time you come up, pause and place the soles of the feet onto the earth. Start to make some gentle circles on the sits bones. And try to relax the hip flexors as much as possible here. If it's hard to relax the hip flexors, try bringing the hands behind you and leaning back a little bit. And then circle the weight around the sits bones. And let's actually all do that hand position, placing the hands behind you. Fingertips can point any way that's most comfortable for the shoulders, and rock the weight from hand to hand, bringing extra weight into the pinky side. Bend the elbows, just waking up the hands a little bit. And then stretch the legs out in front of you and let the heels come as wide as is comfortable. Not really a straddle, just a wide Paschimottanasana. And start to walk the hands to one side and then through center to the other side. Let the feet start to windshield wiper so you don't have to resist sort of that natural direction that the feet are going to want to travel as you twist. And then come back to center. Cross the right foot in front of the left. Plant the left hand behind you and pivot into tabletop position. And take a moment to take your tiniest cat-cows that you've ever taken in your whole life and start to find the middle ground where the pelvis isn't tipping forward or tipping back, and it should be kind of a similar sensation to as when you were on your back, anchoring the pelvis down, where there's that little brightness in the core, but it doesn't feel tight, it doesn't feel like a crunch, just like you're turning the lights on. The next time you find that space, start to test it a little by sending the hips back to the heels without arching. It should feel like the glutes are almost catching the base of the pelvis, and then shift forward and lower onto the forearms, and try it from the forearms just to give the wrists a little break. Take a couple of pulses here. And the next time you shift the weight forward, draw some circles, shoulder girdle around the elbows, just waking up the arms and the shoulder sockets. Make sure you're breathing. Go the opposite direction. And then lift onto one hand at a time. Bend the elbows, walk the hands in a little bit, rock the weight into the pinky side of the hand so that the knuckle of the index finger lifts. Let the hands be really soft and shift the weight from hand to hand. If you've ever seen like an elephant trunk picking something up, imagine your hands are like that. And if you haven't seen it, seek that out. And then bring equal weight into both hands and flatten the tops of the feet down. Use your next exhale to gently slide the top of the right foot back and then bring it underneath the hip once again. And take a few of these. Nothing else in the body should move besides the right leg sliding back. And this is going to turn on your deep core. Try to prevent the weight from shifting into the left knee. It's like the anti-rotational muscles that help the core get stronger here. The next time the foot glides back, gently shift the weight into the left hand, push down into the left knee, and play with letting the body stack, kind of like Urdhva Chandrasana. Take a moment to breathe and stabilize. It's okay to feel wobbly here. Moving slower is better. And then gently release back down, cross the right knee behind the left, lower onto the forearms, and make some circles with the hips, just massaging out the shoulders, massaging out the hips. Breathe into the back body. And then we'll do that one more time from the forearms. So keep the forearms down. Start to slide the right foot back. You can point the left knee forward a little bit more. Take a couple of those deep core leg slides. I find myself a lot more stable with my forearms down, so you might notice that your deep core is naturally more engaged here. The next time the leg slides out, shift the weight into the left forearm and start to play with opening and stacking and wobbling but feeling safe. And then release the forearm back down, slide right knee behind the left, and this time press into the hands, sending the hips back towards the heels, melting the forehead. So if it's comfortable, a little deeper, but wag your tail a little bit. And if this doesn't feel good, you can do it the original way where there's a little bit more weight further forward in the knees. And then shift the weight into the hands, uncross the legs. And we'll come up to kneeling for one moment just to give the hips some space. Sweep the arms up, palms face up. I'm turning just so you can see me. Let the arms get really wide and imagine you're like a funnel. And all of the energy of the universe is just pouring through this space, through the central channel of the body, and you don't have to do anything besides breathe. And then release back down to table, and we'll go through that same sequence on the second side. So once you've found your tabletop with soft elbows, pressure in the pinkies, start to glide the left knee in and out, nice and slow, not letting anything in the rest of the body move. Beautiful. The next time the leg slides out, shift the weight into the right hand and take 3 breaths. That's how slowly you're moving. Take 3 breaths to gently start to stack shoulders and hips, opening up away from me. Slower is stronger. Wobbling is okay. Gently release back down. Glide the left knee behind the right knee, kind of like eagle legs. And then start to circle the hips, waking up or opening up through the outer hip, especially on that right leg, but really anywhere that feels good. Try squeezing the legs together really gently. That can help this feel a little more stable. And then lower onto the forearms, and we'll do that whole sequence again on the forearms. Starting with the leg glide, so left leg comes underneath the left hip, and then use your exhale to glide it out. The next time it glides out, gently shift the weight into the right forearm. Take 3 breaths to open up. It is okay to let the foot hover if that's more comfortable. It's a little bit harder, but maybe a little more spacious. And then gently release the top forearm down, cross left knee behind the right, and press the hips back towards the heels, gently rocking from side to side. The elbows might need to slide a little closer to you, and if this is not comfortable, the way we did it on the first side was on the hands and just drawing some big circles with the hips. So please do what feels spacious and useful. And then slowly float onto the palms, uncross the legs, send the hips back to the heels, and glide the hands forward, melting the forehead. Breathe into the back space. And then push down into the knees to slowly start to stack the spine. Send the hips forward so that you're gently making your way up to a high kneel, palms face up. Gently scoop the air up in front of you, letting the arms come overhead nice and wide. And take a few breaths with the heart at the center of this energetic funnel. Try to be soft here and feel that deepest inner space while expanding outwardly in all directions. Release the arms down, tuck the toes under, plant the hands in front of the knees, and then unweight the knees so you're in a little ball. Walk the hands in towards the feet, and very slowly, let's take 3 to 5 breaths to let the back of the body expand into a really soft forward fold. Keep the belly on the thighs, and don't worry about how straight the legs get. Instead, just keep expanding through the back of the body. Try shifting the weight from foot to foot, letting the hips sway. And if you're not getting a lot of movement there, try walking the feet a little bit wider and bending the knees more. Take your time walking the hands up the thighs really, really slowly. Let the sits bones get heavy. Start to send the pelvis forward, letting the spine stack, head and neck come up last. And then just like we did with kneeling, palms face up, scoop the air up. pause in Tadasana with the arms reaching overhead, and then soften through the shoulders as if the shoulder girdle was just landing evenly on your rib cage. Yeah, let the elbows soften. Take a couple of these funnel breaths. And then turn to face me. Start to push into the right foot, and as you push into the right foot, let the whole right side of the body expand, kind of like our side-lying banana pose. Eventually, let the bottom arm start to sweep around the navel. Keep pushing into the right foot and let the heart gently expand, but no pressure in the low back. And then we'll swap sides, so push down into the left foot. Let that downward pressure level out the hips, and then eventually allow the hips to go over to the left, and then the arms swap. Nice and slow. Try to feel how pushing down into the left foot allows the left hip and rib cage to expand, and the arm is so light. And then push down into the right foot and start to play side to side, feeling the swirl of the arms. There's something really magical that happens with swirling. Sometimes I observe it when I'm watching a fan. I think this is why babies love fans so much. When you watch a fan, it goes from a solid object into like an energetic blur. And sometimes I imagine that happening at my heart center. Something that feels really tangible and solid, and then you can let it turn more into an energetic experience. We have a fan right above me right now that I can look at. So if you've got one in the room, feel free to let that be your focal point of being Satyam. There it is. There's my heart chakra opening right above my head. Take one more to each side. And then pause at center and feel the heart as infinitely spacious and the arms as infinitely spacious. And then start to shift the weight from foot to foot, letting the feet gently step wide. Keep the weight in the heels and the ball of the foot. Make sure the knees feel safe here. And then relax the arms down and imagine you're like a gorilla with big, heavy, strong arms, and let them start to swing from side to side. Bananas and gorillas. I don't know what was going on or what is going on. I don't really plan my cues in advance. And start to notice the back space here. I think it can be easy to get drawn out, and walk that line of letting the energy expand outward while still feeling really grounded, connected into the heels, connected into the back line of the body and the center of the heart. It's this dance of both. Nice. Yeah, nice little wrist flick there, Geeta. Feel free to add that in. Just that little extra whoop. Get rid of some tension when you flick your... Get out of here. Yeah. And the next time you flick your tension over to the right, pause there and turn the right foot out and let the left heel gently anchor down. Relax the arms down. And we're in a pretty short, probably, Virabhadrasana 2 setup. Take a moment to straighten both legs and relax the hips. Try to feel both feet evenly. You can look down and make sure the right heel is bisecting the arch of the back foot. And then ever so gently start to bend the right knee as you float the arms, and then straighten the leg, arms down. And take a few of these simultaneous movements, almost feeling how the reaching of the arms allows there to be more strength in the knee bend. Kind of like a little internal tug of war. Anju, try to keep the body like stationary. So you, yeah, try it again and feel if there's a little more support when you do that. Does that feel good? Nice. The next time you come into Virabhadrasana to soften and start to feel your breath. Give yourself permission to make any adjustments. Let's all turn the palms up and let the elbows be soft here. Feel equal weight in both feet and notice how your body can support you free of tension if you let go of any ideas of what this has to look like or feel like. And then gently start to reach forward and let the back hand flip down. And then reverse that, so the hands swap, back hand lifts, front hand lowers, and reach back. And start to spiral the arms in this really gentle way where you can almost feel how both arms connect via the heart center. And as the back arm flips down, it almost creates like an unfurling across the body, and the opposite arm can follow. And even though there's a lot of focus on the dance of the arms here, have awareness in the soles of the feet. Beautiful. The next time you reach forward over the bent knee, pause there, relax your gorilla arms again, take some shrugs. Bend your elbows just because for some reason this is funnier. And then relax your arms down again. Float them up and overhead like extended side angle with a little extra oomph. Press into the feet and then very gently start to kick extra into the right foot. So you come up, turn the feet so they're parallel to one another, and just start to explore the space around you. Equal weight in both feet as you circle. Doesn't matter how far you go, because you want to feel really supported. And just let yourself take up space. Let yourself reach out while still feeling very inwardly anchored. It's okay to let one knee bend. I like bending the knee that I'm reaching towards. It just feels softer. And then pause at the top. Big, spacious funnel arms. Let your focus pool at the heart. And as you become as spacious as possible here, you don't have to do anything to absorb. It's just happening. And then bend the elbows, heavy hands, and heel toe feet in, and then go back out, just because let's do it a couple times. I don't want it to be over yet. Yeah, it's a good brain exercise. And then once they're in, pause, relax, and let yourself just be. Notice what it's like to be you in this moment. And then we'll prepare to do that same sequence on the second side. Yeah, you can go to the next track if you want to. You don't have to. It's up to you. Start to shift weight from foot to foot. Letting the other foot lift and lengthen, and try to feel your center lifting the leg. And then pause with both feet on the ground. Turn the left toes to the short edge of the mat. Let the right foot turn out slightly. Push evenly into both feet. Let the legs be straight for a moment so that your hips can really relax. Anchor both big toes and then gently bend the left knee, letting it drift towards the pinky side of the foot. Straighten the leg and we'll add the arms in. So now knee bends as the arms float, and notice those two actions helping each other. Nice. and then come back to center. If you want to sync the breath, I like the exhale is with the knee bent, but there's no right or wrong as long as you're feeling. And give yourself permission to allow the left foot to slide forward, not because it's the goal, but maybe the body is craving that expression. So you can play with it. The next time you float into Vira 2, pause there. Let yourself soften. Let yourself land. You can gaze over the left middle finger. And let yourself be present for a moment, feeling the center of the heart. And then feeling everything radiating out, reaching out and expanding without losing your center. Palms up, soft bend in the elbows. One more breath. Then the back hand flips down and start to reach forward with the palm up. And then flip both palms, reaching back. And we'll play with this gentle spiraling. You're reaching whichever way the palm is face up. I'm really enjoying allowing the movement to start with the hand that's flipping down, and it sends a spiral up my shoulder, across my heart, into the opposite arm. Try to keep equal weight in both feet, and it'll wake up the deeper layers of your musculature. One more. The next time you reach forward, pause there. Let the right arm lengthen overhead. Both arms are parallel. Take one moment in a floating Utthita Parshva Konasana. And then turn all 10 toes to the side for a straddle. Soften the right knee and start to circle the arms. You can allow whatever knee you're reaching towards to bend, to just unload any sense of pressure, and you can be as big or as small as you want here. Imagine yourself like a radiant sun where you can feel the center point of the sun and then the infinite radiance reaching out in all directions, and both are true, and your awareness can reach infinitely in both of those directions. The next time you reach up, pause there, big, spacious funnel. Just breathe, drop awareness to the heart. Let yourself be safe and content with just being here and not having to do anything. And then gently relax the arms down. And then let your puppet strings lift up your elbows. And we'll go internal, external, internal, external. Center of the heart, vastly spacious. All the way in, all the way out. And then do it a few times. You can go faster. Oh, you can go to one side at a time. Yeah, there's no rules. Oh, you're really good at this, Diana. And then come back to center. You're all good at it. Start to sway the hips from side to side. We're making our way down towards Malasana, which isn't everyone's favorite, so feel free to just skip to the chase and lower the hips to the earth if it's not comfortable being in this middle area. But because we've already been gorillas and bananas, we might as well be monkeys. I like this shifting Malasana because it keeps the hips and the knees active as well as the feet. So you can sway the hips from side to side, letting that one knee gently lower, and lower the hips all the way to the earth at any time if the hips or the knees aren't enjoying this. And then let's pause at center, hands at prayer, breathe. Feel the musculature that's supporting the back of the pelvis, and see if you can lift out of this just 1 centimeter. And then lower the hips all the way down. Let the feet be spacious, whatever that means to you. And then start to go to the next track, just so it's a more relaxing vibe. And start to walk the hands from side to side. And just like we did at the beginning of class, it's okay to let the feet rotate in the direction that you're traveling, as long as the knees and the hip sockets are okay with that. Oh, this is sort of fun. You can initiate the movement by, well, I'll do it on the same side. Point the left toe and start to drop the left toe in, almost as if you're like trying to dig down in the sand. And notice how that starts to rotate the left leg and allow the whole spine to follow. And then dig the right toe down into the sand and let the whole rest of the body unfurl. It's kind of like the movements we did in Virabhadrasana 2 with the spiraling arms. And we're starting to cool down, so if at this point you're like, I want to do something else, and your body's craving something, that is always on the table. And start to slow down the movement. If you want to enjoy more expansion, you can lift up through center before you spiral to the other side. You can also start to play with reaching the hands forward, but only if there's no tension in the spine, only if it feels like the body is craving that. You can always pause if you find somewhere interesting. Oh, nice. Anju's keeping her arms up, and that looks really strengthening while stretching. Make sure you can feel the breath, and make sure you can feel that sense of everything connecting at center. Sometimes when we get into these types of poses, we disconnect. Right? We want to stay integrated. We don't want to feel one muscle stretching, just our single celled movements that are even through the whole body. Make your way towards center, hands high or low, whatever the body is craving. And reach out through the feet, pressing out through the balls of the feet. Notice how the legs strengthen. Anchor the sits bones down and see if you can gently come up to a neutral spine, floating the arms into our big spacious funnel. Stay relaxed. Breathe and receive. And then gently melt the arms down. Do little like twinkly fingers, like the edges of your body are dissolving. And then gently support the backs of the knees, bringing the legs in. And we're going to be using lots of props for a nice long Shavasana. So you can pause your music and be patient, because it's going to take some time to set this all up. And it's worth it. And that's all I'll say. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a really special headrest with one of our blankets. And so to make this headrest, have the fold towards you, let's say to your left hand side, so we're all on the same page, and start to roll up the top of the blanket. This is going to support your neck. You might, oh, okay, so the blanket's folded in half, and we're only rolling up the top half. The bottom is going to go under your scapula, so we want that to exist. Once you've got a little roll here, hold the edges of the roll and flip that under. Okay, so let's do that again. So we've got a blanket, fold it in half. We roll up the top half about halfway. Slide the hands to the edges of the roll. And then here's the magic origami moment. You curl the edges underneath. It's almost like we're making a massage table headrest kind of shape. So there's this big bulge here that's going to support your neck. And then there's a little bit of extra padding that's going to support the sides of the head. Great job. You got it. Yeah. Okay. So let me demo what's going to happen with that, and then I'll show you the other blankets. So you'll know you did it right if you can bring your shoulders onto part of the blanket, and then, assuming you're not wearing a flower crown, you can bring the base of that big fold to the base of the neck, and then the sides of the blanket cradle the sides of the head. So it's sort of like a massage table, that donut shape. Don't get too comfortable. The next blanket, don't worry, this is an easy one. The next one is the under the knee. You guys know that one, so you can do however you like. And then the final one is only slightly tricky, but it's worth it. It's so worth it, so don't be mad at me. Satyam says, now we're going to make a swan. So this one, the only tricky thing is it has to be pretty wide, and I'll show you why. We want it to be wide because it's going to go over our bellies, and then it's going to support our forearms. All four of our arms. Just kidding. And this is going to allow the arms to relax really deeply. So we just want it wide enough to cross the body and be able to support our forearms and maybe even our hands. So that looks great, Anju. And of course, if there's other things that you love in Shavasana, you can do them. I love these things. If your music is still playing, you can pause your music. And I'm so sorry, I didn't tell anyone to have water at all in class. I need water. Looks like a few of you do too. That's good. Drink some water. And as you start to make your way into Shavasana, almost assume you're not going to get it perfectly the first try, and there might be some wiggling around, there might be some adjustments with your props, and tell yourself that you are worth it, and there's no hurry, and being comfortable is valuable, and supporting yourself is valuable. And see if you can even enjoy the process of adjusting and supporting. You can even adjust your hair if it's in the way. If you've got a ponytail, can take it out, or a bun or whatever. And go through the process of taking care of yourself. And once you've found a situation that feels supportive, let the body relax and feel how the sense of support that you've created allows the awareness to drop more fully into the deeper inner space of the heart. And as the awareness drops into the heart, start to let go of your body. Even the things that you love about your body. Let go of your physical form and start to feel what is left inside. The yogic tradition, this is the inner self, pure consciousness, and it lies in all of our hearts, the core of all of our beings. And so let each breath of your Shavasana point you in this direction, traveling deeper and deeper inside towards the place where you're infinitely spacious, supremely conscious, and completely blissful. And we'll travel towards this space for a generous amount of time. And it's my birthday, so I'm going to do Shavasana too, which I never do. Don't worry, I'll set a timer. Oh. Yeah. 12. Observe your physical body. Notice the space that you have. Your ability to not be confined by thoughts and body, but rather this connection to something greater and beyond where we usually exist. Notice from this vantage if the body feels less solid, almost like the bonds between the molecules has loosened and you've got more space. Imagine the body melting and dissolving, and try to keep that actual sensation as you start to make gentle movements, not being too drawn into the body, but rather just watching it, letting it stay dissolved. And imagine you can completely leave the physical body, all the mental and emotional tensions contained within it. You can leave all of that behind and just let your highest form float up to your meditation seat. The part of you that is pure being, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. And take your time and let it be real, not just a thought exercise, but literally you are pure consciousness coming to seated, completely unbound by past physical, mental, and emotional patterns. When you arrive at your seat, notice any sense of possibility. In this moment, being able to leave everything behind and just feel open to this moment. Let the inner gaze drop into the heart. Let the breath be soft. Notice if you can keep feeling that dissolving quality, that sensation of not being solid, starting to feel the spaces between the cells, the spaces between the molecules, spaces between our atoms. You can begin to attach the mantra Om Namah Shivaya to each in-breath and each out-breath, And this mantra takes us into those spaces, into that realm of pure consciousness. And so imagine it's almost like a starship that you can get in, the mantra that travels into these inner realms. And just breathe and soften and repeat the mantra and let it carry you infinitely inward, deeper and deeper into the heart, into these smaller and smaller spaces inside. We can close our practice with a few rounds of cultivating gratitude. So bring hands to the center of the chest and start to feel the space that you've created through your practice and your ability to reach into that. Unearthing the qualities that are always within our heart, especially that of gratitude, and using the breath to unearth and expand the sensation of gratitude, feeling that inner spaciousness and joy you have for your life, all the special opportunities. Just keep breathing and allowing that sensation to grow and expand. And notice that dichotomy of going very deep inside while expanding. Notice how the two support each other. The deeper you can travel into the heart, the more spacious and expansive you become. And breathe into that quality of expansion. And when it feels right to you, you can exhale and offer all of that straight up to the crown of the head and to your highest self. Can even visualize your most perfect, radiant, blissful form floating above the crown of your head. And just sending all of that energy into your astral body. And in this way, all of the work that you've done is invested in your highest form, your highest potential. And after you offer that energy up, you can release the hands down into the lap and just soften and relax. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste. So wonderful to see each of you. I look forward to seeing many of you on Friday and Saturday and beyond. Have a great rest of your week. Please let me know if you have any questions.